Hi, this is Misha, and the other day I put so-called Russian plum colored furniture on my RPK 74 and thought this would be a good time to do a video about Russian plum furniture. Purple plum. It's pretty well known in the AK community, pretty famous, pretty desirable. Everything on this gun is original Molot plum. This is another stock set from Coolfire. He tends to have quite a few sets. Plum RPK fixed buttstock. We've got a Molot pistol grip plum that has the concave checkering. Ribbed plum handguards with heat shield. Now I do not have a plum 45 round RPK mag. I have a black but not a plum, and I've got some Bakelites. But for this I put in an Irshevsk 30 round plum mag. This is one of the later matte plum. Here is a Tula that's a slightly earlier, more glossy plum. And here's another Irshevsk. Just what was in that pouch. Plum is an interesting story in a way. The early plum parts were magazines and pistol grips, and these tended to be real shiny. Then they would go to what's called matte plum, and you would start to see this in the mid to late 80s. It started to appear on rifles between 84 and 88. By the end of the decade, it was very common. It was really the first polymer furniture. Now, this is on the RPK, as you see. They also made sets for the AK-74. Here's the original set here. Here's a plum buttstock for the 74. Plum lower handguard. And a smooth top cover to match. This is again this is the matte plum. So you'll see it both on AK-74s and RPKs, as well as some plum parts, like on the AKS-74U crank would have a plum pistol grip. And no one has an exact explanation why they went with this unique color pattern. Several theories have been proposed, but no one's dug up anyone at the Irshevsk or Tula or Molot factories that said, this is why we did it. Theories abound. Some say that they went to this off color because it wasn't true black and would camouflage better. They claim that in nature there's no such thing as true black. Others say that this color did not show up as much on night vision devices as true black would. The truth is, my personal opinion, these aren't correct. These are just explanations, but they don't sound factual. For one thing, we have furniture, but the guns were black, even painted black, so the gun would have still shown up, the barrel assembly and all that, so having the furniture not show up wouldn't matter. Probably there's two other ones that seem more likely. Some say that when Russia tried to do a true black in the 80s, the way the dye interacted with the polymer of the day, the polymer wasn't strong enough, especially in sub-zero Arctic weather. So they went to this pattern of dye, which kind of yielded an off black, which made it strong enough. And the coloration of polymer really does add to strength. You see this with a lot of the early Magpul stuff. They tried the dye in certain colors that didn't work out as well. So that's possible. They could have just been what they had to do to make it work. The one theory that I think is probably most correct was that this was just more or less an accident. They mixed this dye in with the polymer, which begins basically as white. The dye is injected as pellets, and when the pellets mixed with the polymer, you kind of got this off black color. Some people will say, well, nah, this couldn't be. They produced thousands of stock sets, magazines, even bayonets in this, so they wouldn't have made a mistake like that. And all I have to say to that is, boy, you really don't know Soviet Russia, do you? They produced things in large scales. They would gear up and make huge batches. And frankly, I don't think the aesthetics mattered. It's not a bad color. I mean, the US used a dark gray on the early M16s. And even some of their stocks can vary from that kind of like glossy mottled to more of a matte finish. I think it's what they ended up creating. It worked. And really, in most lighting, this looks, especially some plum, looks pretty black. It's really only in direct sunlight it takes on kind of a brownish, purplish hue. Kind of a mirage, and it even changes a little bit in the lighting situations. So, you know, it worked. They had it already set up to go. They had the molds ready to go. They had the dye ready. I'm sure if it came out like hot pink, they would have, you know, maybe kind of revisited it. But it worked. It came out. It was fine. Good, durable furniture. And maybe they were just thinking of U.S. collectors in 20 and 30 years and just trying to be nice to us, to give us something really unique to play with. It's worth noting that you'll see all kinds. Like I said, there's shiny plum, there's matte plum. There's some that have speckles, little white speckles. That's really where the dye did not fully mix with the white polymer. Those speckles, those white speckles, are undyed polymer. And you'll see some that's lighter, more purple, some that's lighter, more brown, and some that's basically almost black. And of course later, in the 90s, Russia would go to a true black, and they would even change the material, not just the dye, so completely different. Now, there is American-made plum from Arsenal. I wish I had a full set to show you. All I have is an Arsenal pistol grip at the moment, but it'll show you. Arsenal plum is more true purple, true plum. It's a lighter, more purple. It will not be speckled. It will not have swirls and, you know, that. It's just a matte, lighter purple. It's intentionally made purple, and that seems very clear. Whereas the Russian stuff, looking at this pistol grip here, let's say, you can tell wasn't really meant to be purple. It's just kind of the hue it takes on in direct sunlight. So yeah, I put this on my gun. Thought, why not make a video on plum? We had mentioned doing kind of a video just focusing on it a few months ago. So we appreciate you tuning in. And yes, you did just watch a 10-minute video about a blind guy talking about colors. You aren't dreaming. That really did happen. I did my best, folks. If you liked the video, please click like. If you haven't already subscribed, we'd really appreciate it if you do that too. And please tune in again next time for hopefully more interesting videos. This is Misha, and we'll catch you then.